My name is Matina Tsavli. I'm security manager at Accenture, leading the cyber protection pillar. I lead the team where we do cyber transformation projects for big organizations and application security, cloud security, data security, and emerging technologies. I will be your moderator today. As you can see, I'm not alone. I have a co-moderator with me today. So if you see me look at my belly, she's speaking to me and she's telling me what to ask next.
Probably.
So before I go to our speakers, let us tell a few things about the discussion today. It is about cyber warfare and what it practically means. You can also hear me speak a bit quickly because the baby doesn't let me. I'm sorry for that. So, is cyber warfare different than cybercrime? Yes, it is. Cybercrime typically is motivated by financial motives, but cyber warfare is more strategic. For this reason, I have three experts with me who will speak about the cyber warfare. At first, I would like to thank Dr. Yiannis Pavlosoglou, Vice Governor of the National Cybersecurity Authority of Greece. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. And just if anyone is questioning the commitment it takes to be in cybersecurity, here it is. Matina, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, for any SOC analysts, pen testers, red teamers, that is very difficult being them, okay? This is the commitment, okay?
Thank you so much. I have with us Spyros Papageorgiou, Partner and Head of Cybersecurity at KPMG. Hi, Spyros. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
And Cyber Threat Researcher at 30U. Thank you for the invitation and for having me here today. Before we start, I would like to ask each of our panelists a few things about their daily activities, about their interests, about the vision they have. So I'd start with Yiannis. Could you briefly share your role and responsibilities at the National Cybersecurity Authority of Greece? And talk to us about the overall strategy, the vision, and the key national priorities you are currently focused on.
So the vision is very simple. We want a resilient, data-sovereign Greece when it comes to our nation leading.
Perfect. And that's exactly what I would like to discuss also in the next few minutes. Now let's move to Spyros. Spyros, hi. Do you want to tell us about your current role, your areas of focus, but also reflect on your experience as a Director of Cyber Defense Directorate?
The challenge in the context of being able to not only offer digital services, but make sure that those are sustainable and resilient. And resilience is not a buzzword. I came back to Greece after 25 years abroad. You can probably tell from the accent where that was. And as the operational vice governor of our great nation, my objective with the authority, the National Cybersecurity Authority, is to help drive that vision forward. Our mission is very simple. It's laid out in law. We've upgraded from a, if you like, general directorate to a national cybersecurity authority, like all other nations in Europe, like most countries in the modern world, to have a central focal point for cybersecurity, not as any means of, let's say, a power grab or anything of the sort, but as a means to react to the fact that we're dealing with such a specialized cybersecurity topic.
Thank you very much. This is something new for me, working to the private sector. I worked for the last 38 years to the public sector in the Navy. So this is something new. What I like to do in KPMG, I prefer working at operational tactical level. So what I mean, I cover pretty much everything because I have a lot of experience. What I'm covering, I can do cybersecurity implementation, incident handling, even digital forensics, I like doing hunting the threat. I did a lot of defensive operations that meant hunting the threat, hunting advanced persistent threat. For sure, I understand the cyber threat. That means that I understand the attacking process. So I can do a lot of different kind of penetration tests, red teaming. So pretty much, I'm covering
Everything.
all.
So pretty much everything.
Pretty much, because, okay, most of the people, they know me that I was the last 13 years the director of Cyber Defense Directorate. Let me say something. We are talking about cyber warfare. Okay, other countries, they have cyber commands doing cyber operations. That means offensive, defensive. We don't have cyber command, but we have cyber directorate. And the daily business is cyber operations. Okay, I was the director of our military CERT, defending our military networks. I was also the director of CCERT, contributing, defending our national critical infrastructure. Next week, we will have Panoptis. This is the National Cyber Defense Exercise. I was the creator and the organizer for the last 15 years, the National Cyber Defense Panoptis. I was the creator and organizer of our Cyber Defense School. Pretty much, I had 20 years in the Cyber Defense Directorate. I was one of the creators. I went to the empty space and I developed cyber operations.
Spyro, you're one of a kind. Your experience was one of a kind on the matter of cyber security and operations. And this is why I would like to start with you asking about the cyber war rooms. What happens in the cyber war room? I think the audience really wants to know who takes the decisions, what are the responsibilities? Is the information classified?
I will talk about the defensive war room, okay, not the other part. So
anything you are allowed to.
No. But you can imagine what happened to the offensive war room. But, okay, talking about the defensive war room, what happens over there? If you visit our war room, you can see, okay, the same picture as a security operations center. The difference is that, okay, the people wear uniforms. The other thing that makes the difference is that the attackers, most of them, they are very advanced. We are talking about dealing with state-sponsored attackers. So you will see at least 4 different teams. That means the incident handling team, forensics, malware analyst, and the SOC analyst. Okay, during the monitoring mode, there is only 4 teams. But during the defensive, the incident mode, we will add another team, the offensive team. The idea is to understand the attacking process. So, what is my advice to you? When you're dealing with an incident handling, with a cyber attack, you have to have, okay, the incident handling plan, a run book. That means tailor-made playbook for your organization. But the most important, you have to have a questionnaire. If you don't answer questions like, what damage did to our organization, you are not finished the incident handling process. You have to make indicators of compromise, sharing immediately. Okay, I will stop here because we don't have enough time.
Of course, the offensive team, so are the needs, as we imagine, that prevent the cyber attacks. But who takes the decisions?
Okay, it depends. When we are in defensive mode, the SOC manager or the defensive manager has the lead. If we have a major incident, then the director of cyber defense directorate takes the lead, but the chain of custody is already implemented. That means, as director, I report to the general, and the general reports to the chief of armed forces. That's the chain of command.
Okay, we saw the part of the operations, we saw the part with the intelligence, but I would like also to point a few things about the policies and the governance level. So, Yiannis, do you think there should be, or there are already organizations looking into laws of war for cyberspace? Could we expect in the next, I think, months or years, a Geneva Convention for cyberspace, telling you which rules should apply in cyber warfare and like in a normal warfare.
It's like aspiring for world peace. Yes, we would love to have that. So practically speaking, a war room is what Spyros described, and if you stay long enough in this industry, you'll see that the roles swap. I used to be in the private sector, and now the roles have reversed. So war for us today is something different. It's withstand, absorb, recover as a starting point. If you want to start with this room becoming a war room, it will take about 5 minutes to vacate. The phrase is, can we have the room, right? It will take me longer to vacate this room than move the people that I need in the war room upstairs, which will probably be about 2 minutes, right? So there are protocols for all these processes, and the reason why I bring this up is for our audience to understand that the modern phase of cyber warfare is a permanent state of readiness and grayness. All the tabletop exercises that were previously mentioned typically have scenarios where, let's say in the Geneva Convention or in the NATO Article 5 scenario, the malicious actors will take you up to the point just before physical war is imminent and keep you there. So that's the gray.
Is it effective, though? I mean, we are in a constant battleground when talking about cyberspace. Is it effective to have some laws and says this is a peacetime, nobody should move?
It would be effective. It just goes against the openness of the internet, right? So we would have to revisit how we use and apply the concept of, the previous talk about MCP servers.
It is very difficult to apply.
Spyro, you want to say yes?
Yeah, difficult to apply. Difficult. You cannot apply that because you have to understand what is cyber warfare. The problem is that it's difficult to clarify who is behind that attack.
The attribution.
Yeah, the attribution. It's very difficult. So having that problem, it's difficult to use the law to.
And sorry, just to spend a moment on attribution, Matina. So this is also very important, right? So I launch an attack. Is the attack in the threat intelligence platform, right? But it's actually a VPN service operating out of some part of Asia, right? That I've just bought for $2.99, right? Or the compiler that I've used for the malware is a version of Visual Studio, not like the one that was here, but let's say the Australian, Russian, Greek, Turkish edition. Doesn't matter which nation. So when that forensic investigation that Spyros mentioned starts, the first encounter is we're dealing with such a state-sponsor actor. But actually, they just used a VPN and a compiler of a given nation.
Yeah, that's it.
And the main intent is not to steal, it is to harass, it is to disrupt, it's to destabilize.
Yes. Yeah,
so this is why it's most important. And they have
warfare.
complex attacks. They use AI in order to do these attacks right now.
What makes the difference between cyber warriors and cyber attackers? The cyber warriors wants to compromise the system, stay hidden.
And stay hidden, exactly.
That's the idea, non-destroying. At
they
some point, they protecting the compromised system from other attackers.
Yes,
that makes the difference.
There might be months or years inside an organization and nobody would know.
Some statistics on this, and apologies, I think I moved the mic. So apologies if it's too loud. So the average time in 2024 that attackers remained inside corporate governmental networks in Europe was 200 days.
200 days.
Average. Right? The average time of detection is in the months. If we look at the raw statistics in and around, just going back to your previous question, always technology moves at a faster pace than legislation, so the average time to produce any law and agree it takes more time and leaves us in a state of having to revisit it very often. Going back to the point that the solution is quite simple, though. I mean, we're talking about basic cyber hygiene, detection, So we have the recipes, right? And typically the starting point is just asking all those awkward questions that cybersecurity asks and running those tabletop exercises. I think that's the key point.
And this is the greatest opportunity to mention also the latest attacks that have happened, or some milestones of threats we had in the past. For example, a very recent example, Anthropic, I don't know if you know, it's a company in America, disclosed a state-sponsored actor manipulated Cloud Code AI in order to do a cybersecurity attack. And it did affect 30 organizations. 80 to 90% of the attack workflow was automated by Claude. Okay, so this is a step closer to what we say cyber warfare, because AI tools, legitimate AI tools, have been used in order to do cybersecurity attacks. So with that in mind, can you share examples of cyber incidents or campaigns you consider true milestones in the history of the years? And I know you all have incidents to share, so this question is for all of you.
Okay.
Spyros, do you want to start?
Okay, let's say this. You have to understand cyber warfare. It has two phases. The first phase is to get inside and collect intelligence. The second phase is to destroy the infrastructure. Having said that, okay, one way to infect a country is the DNS hijacking. So I want to mention a cyber attack that happens in our country back to 2019. Someone hacked .gr, top-level domain. If you manage to hack a DNS server like that, .gr, you can simulate pretty much every service. What did the attacker? He prepared a lot of different email servers, government, even police, our National Intelligence Service, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And for 5 days, he managed to collect a lot of different email accounts, not protecting by multi-factor authentication. So imagine that can simulate e-banking, everything at national level.
Why did it take 5 days to recover? Technology
Probably,
is a part of technology.
Probably they didn't have any security operations center. He did a mistake. I believe that he used the wrong certification, and by that, they discovered the incident.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. Yiannis, do you have an incident to share with us?
Yeah, so actually the precursor of that, actually the fashion of hijacking DNS at whatever level, TLD, top-level domains, keeping honest to the bullshit bingo promise, is, I recall in 2007 being with Dan Kaminsky in DEF CON and him stating that he has found a number of techniques where DNS can be hijacked due to the nature of the protocol, right? And immediately you had a number of measures taken by a number of countries globally, but it wasn't organized through an ITF, an Internet Task Force, or anything equivalent. So consequently, each nation, including Greece, did their own thing, and therefore created different levels of resilience and cybersecurity. For me, the biggest hacks, actually, recently, are not those relating to, I mean, the Anthropic one we'll be discussing for quite a long time because of the weight of the poisoning. So that's definitely going to be up there in 2025. But the top one that we saw last year, which was a hybrid of deep fakes and involving a conversation for 14 minutes and a video call of fake CFO profiles that led to the transfer of 25 million, I think is about to become a big reality in social media combined with cyber attacks. So while the NCSA, the National Cybersecurity Authority, is dealing with a real major incident, it's very likely that we'll have publicity campaigns that are going to be, faking a certain news. And why do I say that? Because it just follows the trend of the Dan Kaminsky. You discover the vulnerability, malicious actors combine it, countries suffer from it.
I believe Stuxnet and AI change the game.
Exactly. I mean, to write a SCADA system, malware, undetected, obfuscated, it's like what we estimated
attacking
that
OT devices
on
or
OT, six
industrial
years,
control
right?
systems is right now it's the most important.
And now on the defensive side, to leave a positive note, previously in order to do a crypto wallet analysis of somebody has done a crypto payment on ransomware, please don't conform to ransomware payments. Not only is it illegal, but you're fueling an industry for many, many cyber crimes. And that industry is growing. It's estimated at $10.5 trillion, right? So you can now take a crypto address, not just Bitcoin, Monero, the more, if you like, religious coins that are used for crypto payments, put it in ChatGPT and say, give me the history, right? So defenders are also gaining there.
The attack doesn't have to be that sophisticated. I mean, simple attacks. For example, in Ukraine a few years before, with NotPetya. It was actually a simple attack, but they infiltrated the respective tool we have here in Greece is My Data. It's the one that government gives us in order to to issue invoices, receipts, and everyone has it. A law firm, a big company, everyone has it. So they managed to attack that specific program of the government, and they got access everywhere. And they had the whole nation 6 hours dead. Nothing was running, not media, not banks, nothing. Even the nuclear factory didn't work. So it doesn't have to be a very sophisticated attack. You need to know your target well.
That's the idea. So during the cyber warfare, if you have, let's say, 1 year to conduct a specific offensive operation, you have to spend 6 months to investigate the target, to collect all the needed information. And otherwise, you decide how to attack the target. That's the idea.
6 months.
And with that in mind, and that's the perfect pass, let's have a last statement. We have to finish in a few minutes, so I would like to share with me one statement each about what do you think about the resilience, what resilience truly means, and how can we build structures, how can we build culture, because it's also a matter of culture. How can we build processes? Yiannis, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So at the risk of sounding like a broken record, security is a process. If you have processes in your organizations, in your life, that involve digital data and have gaps, they don't lead anywhere, right? So if you have a process whereby you don't know where your passwords are at a personal level, then expect to be hacked, right? And being resilient is about bridging those processes. If within your organization you have parts that are not handing over to the other team, then that's where hackers are going to be looming in and fix that.
Okay, what is resilience? You have to keep running under a cyber attack. Okay, so the most important, you have to be prepared. You have to understand the attacking process. You need a hacker to catch a hacker. I believe on that. So, if you want to have cyber resilience, first of all, you have to deploy defense in depth. Zero trust, micro-segmentation. You have to protect your infrastructure at 5 levels. Perimeter inside the network, the perimeter of desktop or device, inside the device, and even at application layer. Right now, there is a technology that protects application at the function layer.
And their identity, the user.
Yeah, they are using right now. So do that. Prepare yourself. have an incident handling plan, business continuity plan, and even disaster recovery plan, not only as a document. You have to exercise yourself on those plans.
That's the greatest point. As a closing remark,
Yeah.
I guess we will keep that as first. Assign budget to your teams in order to be protected, because this is one of the major things that we face right now. There is no budget. Someone says, I cannot sell security in my product. Someone says, I don't feel a target. I don't feel important enough in order to give money for that protection part.
So I think it's important to spend a minute on this mentality that we have about not telling about breaches, right? So first of all, as you all understand from other updates, we will find out if you've been breached, right, in time, either through you or through a wall of shame on the dark web talking about you.
Yeah.
Please inform the relevant authorities, if that's the National Cybersecurity Authority, because you're a critical national infrastructure, if that's another part, if that involves our colleagues in the certs, please give a heads up. It's impossible that we don't share that information thinking that, oh no, we might get fined or anything else. The fine will be around not sharing that information. And why? Not because we are, trying to establish a conformity level of cybersecurity. We see that as a result. Why? Because if you're being attacked and we don't know about it, and somebody else is being attacked, and we don't have your information, then it will take us more time to know that a coordinated attack against our nation is taking place. And that time will mean that more people will suffer, right?
Amazing point for me. For example, in the Netherlands, the respective cybersecurity authority shares playbooks to the organizations that suffer from specific type of attacks. So this is the vision. This is exceptional work done.
We have those for certain types of attacks. Right?
Okay. The other thing, share indicators of compromise in different forms, Sigma, Yara, IDS rules. Share that. So another one can use it immediately. So that's the idea.
Okay, so second takeaway, assume breach. Third take point, collaborate and share information. Information should be shared with other people, with other organizations. The authorities need to know if a breach has happened to you. You might be able to help identify an incident.
Yeah.
And above all, resilience is the new currency. Build your organizations to be strong enough in order to be resilient against those attacks.
So it's not against.
And hire people, change your culture, do security awareness trainings, write processes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, our audience. We don't have times for questions from the audience, unfortunately.
But we will be around.
Thank you all for being here today. It was
Thank you very much.
our honor to have you.
Thank you so much for being here.